Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on replay. Wherever you are, thank you for joining. This is the Spin Zone. I'm your host, Spin Doc, and a little bit of a later start today. Had a call I had to be on, so we will go now. This show is being brought to you on behalf of the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. If you're not, please do subscribe to that for all of our daily content and information. Please also follow me at Spin Doc Sports on X. Like the video, give it a share. We do appreciate the love. Helps us get all of our stuff out there. So, with that in mind, we got three pitchers to talk about today. This is a good card. When I went through my initial capping today, in addition to the three guys for the show, I also had seven more that are potentials for VIP. So, man, could be a busy day. Let's start the week off right. So, but before we do that, we will talk about what we learned yesterday. What did we learn yesterday? Well, VIP did it was a quiet night, 1-1. So nothing too big. Still sitting very, very solidly at 56.4%, up 20 units for the year. As always, if you do want to get in on Win the Day VIP, please send me a DM or please, the link is in my bio. We can get you in for a week, for a day, for a month, whatever. We got all kinds of football, fantasy football, all kinds of content coming right at you very, very soon. But let's talk about what we learned last night. So a couple things. I warned you about Jacob deGrom. I warned you that it didn't look right, and I warned you that the Angels were swinging the bats pretty well recently. He went on a K spree at the very, very end, but it wasn't enough. He came up well short of the number, and so the line didn't look right from the beginning. And I had said that from the jump that maybe you take him down, maybe you just leave him alone. We left him alone in VIP. There was just I just didn't want any part of it. And so we have another one today where I'm going to talk about where I don't think the line looks right either, and it's given me kind of some nervous feelings, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But Jacob deGrom was one of the ones that just didn't add up. The Angels aren't chasing. The Angels, their bullpen still sucks. The only problem was because we did take a small live shot in VIP on the Rangers money line. The only problem is the Rangers bullpen is even suckier. So Gallen, I had talked about last night about if Brooks was in the lineup, you don't want any part of it. Brooks was in the lineup and we didn't have any part of it. Gallen just absolutely torched his line, had 9 strikeouts, which I think is his career high in San Diego. And the funny part was Brooks didn't even strike out once. It was actually Merrill who struck out 3 times. And there were multiple other people who did strike out a couple times during that game. I think Sheets got Sheets twice, Maldi twice. Isn't that big of a surprise? But Brooks didn't even K. But either way, the numbers just said without Iglesias in, he did a pinch hit later in the game, but it wasn't against Gallen, and so. With Brooks in, I said leave it alone, and that's what happened. Now, the last one I want to talk about is actually 2 more. One, because we talked about him on the show, but Christopher Sanchez. I had talked earlier this season about how there was road Sanchez and there was home Sanchez, and there still is a gap in his K percentage and his xFIP and some of his advanced metrics when it comes to home versus road. But Christopher Sanchez is very, very much becoming a guy that you can back in any situation. 7 strong innings last night. 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 Ks. He has actually really been doing well against non-divisional opponents on the road. So that's something that I'm going to take forward because I've been burned by him on the road before, and I've kind of been in, okay, prove it to me mode, but non-divisional opponents, he's really turning it up and was just making guys whiff left and right last night. He even struck out Jung-Hoo Lee. And I mean, I was flipping back and forth between that and the Rangers game because in VIP, we cashed Kikuchi's under. So I was flipping back and forth, but I saw him get Jung Hoo Lee and saw him get him on a sweeper that was just disgusting. Even a high contact guy like Lee, he had no chance at that pitch. That pitch was going to strike out like 99% of hitters. That probably would have even struck out a rise for the Padres. So Christopher Sanchez, I think that we're almost at the point where we can take off the road Sanchez versus home Sanchez moniker, because ever since he has as he's developed this year, he's really become a guy that you can trust in virtually any spot. Now, a guy that you can't trust, or that we almost trusted. This one went down to the very, very, very last minute, and in the end, I dumped it. And thank God that we did. We didn't play this in VIP, but it was Yoshi Yamamoto. Some things in the line said that there might be an opportunity for him to go over last night, and oh my goodness, did he not? Yoshi got absolutely shelled, absolutely obliterated, couldn't even complete an inning, didn't strike out anybody. Did have a couple plays in the field in the first inning where guys got on, and just it led to extra base runners, but he just didn't look right. And as soon as they batted the ninth guy, I said it too. I said, I know it's not what they want because the Dodgers bullpen is so taxed, but I'm like, Dave's got to go get him, because he was going to get absolutely annihilated. I mean, he kind of did already, but less than an inning pitch, 3 earned runs, just not his night at all. The Brewers had a field day last night, and we are going to be talking about that game in just a moment. So I think that was it for major things that we learned or to take away from last night. Funny story is, because we talked about Peralta on the show, and Sharpie and I texted each other about him, and his quote was very, very prophetic. And this is one where I didn't touch Peralta, but he said, "I'm not playing him, but he goes over. I don't know how he goes over, but he goes over." And that's exactly what happened. He hit it. So part of that, I think, had to do with the situation where the Dodgers were behind by so much, and were obviously having to swing a little bit more aggressively. But Freddie Peralta had a very, very I wouldn't say phenomenal start. He had a very tidy start. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks in 6 innings. Ended up only throwing, I think he threw 98 pitches. Pretty standard. Overall, a decent start, but that was just one where we're like looking at the numbers, looking at the metrics, looking at the line. I have no idea how he's going to go over his K-prop, but he will. So for any of you that bet Peralta's over, you're welcome, because if I had bet him and if I had given him out, I promise you he would have walked 6 guys and gone like 3 1/3 and struck out 3. So you're welcome. You're welcome for him and any money that you made off of him. But anyways, all right. We will get on with the business of the day. We got 3 pitchers to talk about, but first, there's a couple people in the chat. Want to say what's up and good morning to Philip Magruder. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you, my friend. And also 910J, thank you for reposting the stream. Appreciate you as well. If you haven't yet, please smash the like button. Please give us a follow. We do appreciate the love, but let's get on with the business. All right. The first pitcher of the day that we have, speaking of the Dodgers, we have the phenom, Jacob Misiorowski, the righty. If you haven't watched this kid pitch, I'll give you a quick synopsis, because some of his stuff is just flat out unreal. Striking guys out at a 28% clip so far this year, walking guys at a 13.3% clip. That's going to play a role in today. He gets the Dodgers today at 7:40 Eastern time, and you do have a line that he is 3-1 this year with an under of -165 at home. Does that tell you something? Let's find out. So if you don't know who Jacob Misiorowski is, he is the top Brewers pitching prospect. He's actually one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. And the kid just throws absolute flames. Think of like Rick Vaughn from Major League, with a higher velo, with a little bit more juice on his fastball. He's gone deep into games before in the minor leagues and hit 102, 103 on the gun. His four seamer, which he throws 55.6% of the time, averages 99. So 99 miles an hour. But then he comes back with a 92 mile an hour changeup and an 87 mile an hour big old sweeping curve. So the curve that he runs goes close to the fastball, and that's what makes him so hard to hit, is because we look at it on our clock. His fastball runs up and in the zone, or well, away if you're a lefty. So up and in the zone. And so that's coming at you at 99 to 100. Now, what he then will do is come back with a changeup in the same area, 5 to 6 miles an hour slower. So changing the eye level and changing that speed makes it really tough to hit. And then if that's not good enough, then he'll hit you with a curve that runs in the 6 to 8 range. It's not quite a 12 to 6 curve, but it's close. A big old sweeping curve that if you're thinking fastball, then you are going to be so 8 miles ahead of that pitch. So the kid is raw. The kid is raw. He does things that young guys do, and that's what's led to his 13.3% walk percentage. But there's all kinds of potential here for this young man. And so in his 4 starts this year, he has walked a total of 10 guys. He's walked, and he's especially walked guys against teams that can be patient. And that is what the problem that I have with going with this over today is that the plus money is juicy. The kid is a joy to watch. Even if you don't bet on this game, I would just try, if you have MLB TV or whatever, or if you use other streaming sites, then I would try to at least catch this kid pitching, because he can turn the velo up to 101, 102 very easily. I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure he's hit 103 on the gun before. Now, the issue that we have here is that he has multiple walks in 3 of his 4 starts. He also, there is no walks prop right now that I can see for him, but he does. He has struggled with walks against teams that are patient. Now, you have a Dodgers team where, they struck out 7 times last night to Peralta, but it was more the fact that their starter just got absolutely obliterated. So right now their lineup is projected to be 3 lefties and 4 lefties and 5 righties. Now, of those guys, what I am looking for with Mizorowski is, even though he spends 53.8% of his time in the zone, what he does is that he also generates a 27.6% chase rate. And if you're not going to chase that curve, and if you don't have a high whiff percentage to a 4-seam fastball, then it does make it tough for him to get Ks, especially with seasoned hitters like the Dodgers have. So we go down our list and we have Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. And obviously the top of the Dodgers lineup is elite, but you don't have a lot of chase with Betts. And you do have a lot of zone contact and not a lot of whiff to a fastball. So you have a low percentage there. Ohtani, I'm pretty sure he can get once. Ohtani doesn't chase that much, but he does have, he can have a tendency, which for a guy that swings with this much power, to strike out. Freddie Freeman has been better lately. The other thing with Freddie Freeman is that his chase rate over the last few weeks has been down considerably. So I have Freeman down for a half. Then going on is when we have Will Smith, Teoscar, and Pegas. So Will Smith doesn't chase at all, has good zone contact. That's another tough one. You have Pegas, who chases a lot but also has good zone contact. You can split the difference and count that one for a half. And then you have Teoscar, who is probably going to be a strikeout. So right now I got about 2.5 to 3 out of the top 6. Conforto, Edman, and Rojas. What I have here for those is Conforto doesn't chase, has decent zone contact. Edman has elite zone contact, also doesn't chase. And then Rojas is the exact same. So are there 6 strikeouts out there for Mizorowski to have? Sure. However, the types of teams or types of guys that he has struggled to strike out in his young career are the types of hitters that the Dodgers lineup is littered with. I also go and I look at What is their overall whiff percentage to a four-seam fastball? The reason why I say that is because this is his primary pitch. He throws it almost 54% of the time. And as I said, just absolutely runs it up the radar gun. So you look at a whiff percentage, which MLB averages about 25, 24, 25. And you look at guys that are over that are in the starting lineup. And there's one, Teoscar Hernandez, who's at 26. This Dodgers team, you get down in like Betts, Rojas, both are under 10. Pegas and Edman are under 20. Freeman and Smith are under 22. There's not a lot of whiff percentage to a four-seam fastball in this lineup. And so when you look at when you look at what this kid is doing, and he's also got a lot of public juice behind him, and it's very, very easy to see 5.5 at home. You got, I mean, there are some Dodgers, if you look over the last 15, 20 days, that do have decent strikeout percentages. Ohtani and Teoscar are the two main culprits for this. But then you look across the rest of the lineup and there's just not a ton there. So right now I have Ohtani for one, I have Teoscar for one, and I probably, of the bottom three, I maybe have one for sure. So that's three. Now the question is, are you going to get Betts? Are you going to get Will Smith? Are you going to get Hernandez or Ohtani twice? Maybe. But that's not really something that the juice to me says will play out. That's especially true because his outs, which have been the last two starts at 15.5, are now dropped to 14.5. And so you also have, even though his outs are at 14.5 and were dropped, his earned runs, which have been hovering between a 1.5 and a 2.5, are up at a 2.5. I'm not saying that this kid's going to go out and just get hammered. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that thinking that he's going to pitch like Peralta did last night, like a 6 to 7 inning gem and strike out 7, 8 guys and ladder him and all that, it's just not realistic. This lineup is too disciplined, and this lineup is too good against a four-seam fastball. What Freddie got them with a lot last night was the slider changeup curve. And while Mizorowski has decent of those pitches, they are still developing. And they're not pitches that he throws a ton overall in general. So I think I might leave this one alone. I think that I'm going to look and see when the lineup comes out, because if we get the projected and this drops, like if this drops to a 4.5, there might be a world where I might want to take an under on a 4.5 at some good plus money, maybe just a little bit like lunch money. But I personally am seeing all kinds of warning signs here for and over. You especially also, I mean, if you believe in this angle, I don't try to judge what's going on in clubhouses and motivations. That the fact that the Dodgers got the ever-loving shit kicked out of them last night, and this was right after just getting torched by the Astros, that, do they come back and, like it's like a Empire Strikes Back kind of thing, maybe. But they're just way too disciplined, and they're way too good at making contact against a four-seam fastball. So I don't know if I can trust Mizorowski in this spot tonight. Real quick before we move on, I want to say shout out and what's up to Eric J. Thank you for joining. And Berg with us saying walks are 2+ minus 175 over. Okay, so 2+ walks, and he has done that. That's pretty consistent with what he's done in the games where, and actually in the games where he's walked 3 or more. There's only been 2 of them. He's walked 3 or more twice, and he has hit 5 Ks and 2 Ks against the Mets and the Cardinals, both of whom have good fastball hitters as well. So in the games where he's walked 1 or 2, which is against the Twins and the Pirates, he has 6 and he has 8. And so I just can't trust him in this spot. I'm sorry, I can't. So not saying I'm going to go and do an underlook, but the over just is not speaking to me for this guy. A guy who the over speaks to you pretty much damn near every game is Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, the righty, is striking guys out at a 32.1% clip, walking guys at a 7.4% clip. He gets the Guardians tonight. And so this game, actually, I think I have the wrong time on there. That's actually at 8:10 Eastern time, not at 9:40. But so this game is at 8:10 Eastern time. And as usual for Hunter Brown, we do have a juiced over of 6.5 with a plus money under. All right. I'll make the start of this one very, very, very simple. Hunter Brown, for me, has approached Tarek Skubal and Zach Wheeler territory, and from a K-prop perspective. What I mean by that is he is on no under island. I'm not taking an under on him anymore, especially not at home. I'm either going to play the over or I'm going to pass. Now the question becomes, can you play the over on Hunter Brown tonight? So with this line at a 6.5 in over his last 10, Brown is 7-3. He's 7-3 to having 7+, and he's 6-3 when set at this number. There's also good history behind this. 39 plate appearances against the projected Guardians lineup and 12 strikeouts for a 30.8% K percentage. So the numbers on the surface match up well. This is pretty well set at what his averages have been. Earned runs at 1.5, hits at 4.5. All these things match up quite well with where he has been at. So if you're playing this, you're playing the over or you're playing nothing. Now, you look at the Guardians lineup right now, which is projected to be, they usually go analytical. You have 8 lefties and 1 righty. Jonathan Rodriguez is the only righty that is projected to be in this lineup. Now, with Hunter Brown is that he does spend a little bit less than league average in the zone, but he also generates only 79.1% zone contact. Anything under 80 is just absolutely elite. And so when you look at this Guardians lineup, once you get past the big 3, and this has been the thing, the Guardians of last year are not what the Guardians of this year are. And what I mean by that is that once you get past Ramirez, Santana, and Kwan, then you start looking at some of the zone contact for the other guys, and you have Nolan Jones, who's under league average. You have Schneemann, who's almost 7% under league average. You have Rodriguez, who is almost 10% under league average. You have Rocchio, who is under league average. And you also have Bo Naylor, who is just slightly above league average. So anything after the top 4 is very, very gettable for Hunter Brown. So he can get any of the 5 of these. So even if you say he gets 3, let's say 4 between those 5, can he get 3? Can he get somebody twice? I'm not betting against this guy at home. I'm just not, because he's gone up against teams that have had some really high contact guys before in the lineup and has just absolutely torched them. He went up against the Twins when they had a lot of their high contact guys in, torched them for 12. He went up against the Athletics before they had all their injuries and had a higher contact lineup in and got 8. He's gone up against the Rangers, who have a lot of high zone contact guys in their lineup. On the road, got 9. I'm not betting against this guy. I'm just not. So this is a pretty strong look on the over here. The minus 140 is a reasonable price. I think it's a fair price. I'll put it that way. With the top 4 in the Guardians lineup, specifically the big 3, them being Kwan, Santana, and Ramirez, is that you're not going to get a whole lot of value there just because of those 3, because the rest of the lineup, of the rest other 6, 4 of them can strike out multiple times. That is probably what he's going to need. I'm not going to project who that's going to be, but there is an opportunity for him to get at least one of these guys twice. If he gets one of these guys twice, there's many, many, many paths to 7. So this is a clear overlook for me. I just flat out refuse to fade Hunter Brown at home. Now, a guy that I might be looking to fade at home, and oh man, before you go crazy on this one, danger. This line should be setting off all kinds of alarm bells for you. Here's why. Robbie Ray, the lefty, striking guys out at 27.1%, walking guys at 9%. He gets Philadelphia tonight in one of the nightcaps. This line is set at a pick me, bet me right now, 6.5. At minus 120, both sides are juiced. Robbie Ray to this number in his last 10 is 7.5, 7+ in 7 of his last 10. And he does have a winning record to this number. He also has a 32.5% K percentage in 80 plate appearances against this lineup. So, why are we at a bettable 6.5? Why? Oh, why? Oh, why? This is just so dangerous to me, and this line screams like it's a pick me line of the day. I haven't gone through what the trendies are all on, but I would guess that Robbie Ray is going to be one of them tonight. And I would guess that Robbie Ray will be one of them. I would guess that Will Warren would be another one, which is another one that I'm not considering right now either. But this line screams pick me. And the reason why I think this line screams pick me is because the past history, when you got a guy at home that's got a 32.5% K percentage, and you're giving us this at almost even money at a 6.5 at a number, he's averaging at what his average is. In fact, the over 6.5 right now is now at plus money. Like the juice is actually going on the under. They're begging people to take an over here. And the reason why I think that they are is because, again, lines are built off of averages in past history. But what you do have here is you have Robbie Ray, who spends 50.7% of his time in the zone and generates 78.9% zone contact. That's anything under 80 is good. But you also have where Robbie Ray really gets his strikeouts is when he gets guys to chase. He's got a 1% above league average chase rate allowed, but he allows chase contact that is 10% under league average. If you chase this man's slider, you're going to K. So you look at the Phillies lineup and you see that right now we have 2 lefties and 7 righties. And you go up and down this lineup and you just don't see a whole lot of chase. And so anything above average. Trey Turner is average. Bryce Harper is above average. Schwarber never chases. Baum doesn't chase. You have Real Muto who doesn't chase. You have Kemp, who is a little bit above league average, and you also but even with that, when there's been 5 guys plus that chase in the lineup, is that the numbers say that Ray should have a field day. So like this really should be over 6.5 at like minus 150, minus 148, minus 155, something like that. That's where we should be at, but we're not. We're at plus money. And so what I'm telling you is, to me, this line is screaming to take the over. And I don't buy it at all. I am very firmly looking at the under here. I do hope that we get the projected lineup and that it stays how it is. The line is actually moving the wrong way for what I had hoped that it would do. I had hoped that the public would hammer this over here based on past averages, etc., and we would get a little bit better number on the under. You can still get it at minus 125 on Bet Rivers. I'm going to see what this does throughout the day, and I'm going to see the lineup, but oh man, does this look like a pick-me line. And I'm going to do my run-through of what all the trend bettors are on. I would strongly guess that Robbie Ray would be one of them. All right. So that's Robbie Ray. We do have Kid Keon in the house. Welcome in, my friend. Thank you for joining. Thoughts on Eovaldi and Bello tonight? So the matchup is good, obviously, for both of them. So Bello, I'm not sure that I can trust if you're playing it. If you're playing it over is the only way to go. Eovaldi, I mean, I just spent a whole bunch of time talking about DeGrom. The funny part is I spent a whole bunch of time talking about DeGrom and how he had some really good past history against some of those guys, and the line just didn't look right. Well, we have the opposite tonight, because you have Eovaldi, who is 5-5 to this number in his last 10, and has a 21.5% K rate against this projected lineup, and he's at a 6.5? Huh? Like, that's another one that doesn't make sense to me. So if you look at this one, is that they're putting an Angels tax on a guy on a team that hasn't been striking out as much or at all lately, and you're also putting an Angels tax on a guy that shouldn't be getting an Angels tax. 21.5% in 65 plate appearances is not something that should get an Angels tax. So that would lead me to have a squarely look at the over for this one. When I look at Evaldi's other numbers, what I see is that his overall other numbers look pretty well what they should be. I do see that his earned runs are up in a few places to 2.5 from the 1.5 that they've been at, but most places are hovering this around a bet. Some places have a bettable 5.5, but FanDuel is very, very squarely on the over here at 6.5. I would defer to them on this one. To me, this is an over or nothing. And it, like I said, it sounds weird for me saying this after just talking about how DeGrom wasn't going to get there yesterday, but pitcher by pitcher, day by day, line by line. And what this line tells me, that there is no good reason why this line for Evaldi, who was only averaging 5.6 Ks per game over his last 10, there's really no reason why he should be up against a team that he has ample plate appearances and only has a 21.5% strikeout percentage. So I want to see what the final lineup is, and how the line moves after that. The game's not for a while, so we have that luxury. But for me, I am very, very clearly looking at a potential over for Evaldi. Bello, given the opponent, it's over or nothing. That's really the only way you can do it. All right. So other looks, sides, totals, etc. today. All right. So one that very, very clearly stands out to me from a value perspective is the Rays money line at plus 110. I almost had Pepio on my list. I don't, because of how close in proximity it is to his last start against them. The Phillies money line, I think, has a lot of value at plus 130. That plays into, man, there's a lot of things in this line that say that Robbie Ray could get smacked around a little bit tonight. So Phillies money line at plus 130 also stands out from a value perspective. And I think that was it. A little bit kind of sort of the Marlins money line at plus 105, but that one doesn't interest me as much. It's really just those other two, the Rays and the Phillies, plus 110, plus 130. From a totals perspective, I think that the Pirates team total under does have value. Apologies to Berg, as I know he's watching, but I'm pretty sure he'd agree with me. The Angels and Rangers under 8, the Angels team total under, which also feeds into my thoughts about Evaldi. And then I thought that Will Warren's K line had some pick-me potential as well. I'm not a huge fan of that one. I thought that we would get a much different. I thought it would be much higher and much higher juice. I thought the line would be higher, and I thought we'd get more juice. So given that, I think that the Mariners team total over does have some value as well. Let's see. Nope. Kid Keon saying, my bad. No. This is the time. Ask away. Ask as many as you want. They're the only bad questions are the ones you don't ask. So what do I think of Pepio? It's over or nothing for me. I think that he might have a better start than he would Kane guys. So the over 5.5 right now at minus 120, that's probably where it should be. That's pretty fair. His outs recorded is probably where it should be as well. I would probably look more towards the Rays winning the game than I would to back Pepio on this one. But if you are playing it, over would be the way to go. Yep. Berg, I knew you'd chime in. Kevin, I knew you'd chime in. Pirates and Rockies basically have the same road record. Yep. I think that Berg, I think you said it in VIP last night, that fading the Pirates offense on the road is never a bad bet. And unfortunately for you, because I know that your squad, I'd be hard-pressed to disagree. Ryan, welcome in, says, how do you feel about Yuri Perez and Sonny Gray? Well, Yuri Perez, I think Yuri Perez is lined pretty correctly for this one. The Reds don't chase very much, and so the under 5.5 makes a lot of sense to me because you have a little bit of a tax because of how strikeout prone they are, because it's only averaging 4.2 Ks per game. But then you also have to adjust it a little bit because the one thing that Yuri has been prone to do is walking himself out of games and racking up his pitch count. Now, it was a lot better against the Twins, but the Twins also were hacking away. Even though Perez does spend 48.9% of his time in the zone, he's very reliant on chase because his chase rate is about 4% above league average. So he needs that chase, and the Reds don't chase. So I'm not sure that I like a lot of Yuri Perez stuff tonight. It's hard for me because the projected Reds lineup, there's like 4 guys that are very high strikeout candidates. So when you have a line of 5.5, even if he gets all of them once, like he was quote unquote supposed to, it doesn't leave you a whole lot of room for error for the rest of the guys. So maybe I'll take a look at him. And then Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray has absolutely horrendous past history against this projected Nationals lineup. He's 64 plate appearances and 9 strikeouts, 14.1%. So the line being set at 5.5 is, I think, a little bit skewed towards how he's been pitching lately, because he's hit 6+ he's 5-5 over his last 10, but he's hit 6+ in a few of his last starts. Now, a couple of those were teams he's had success against, like the Pirates, and has just barely hit it. He barely hit 6 at the very, very end. So I'm waiting to see what lineup that the Nationals put out there, but this could be an underlook for me. The other thing to think about before, if you're like thinking about you want to go the other way and you want to take the over for this one, is that there could be some weather coming in here for this one. So the current forecast, and shout out to Kevin Roth, who Kevin Roth RX, if you don't follow him on X, you should, because Sharpie turned me on to him, and the guy does the most detailed forecasts for Major League Baseball. He's just absolutely awesome. He's Roto Grinder's chief meteorologist. But current forecast for this game is that there is a storm line moving in pregame. It could be a late start. Could be delayed. That always makes me iffy about taking any overs. But what makes me more iffy about even trying an over for this one is the fact that if they run this projected lineup out there, Sonny Gray only has 9 Ks and 64 plate appearances against this team. That's an ample number of plate appearances. 14.1% is just abysmally low. So I think under is the only way that you can look. And yep, my pleasure, Ryan, and appreciate you for joining as well. All right. That should do it for today. We're back tomorrow at the normal time at 10 a.m. Eastern with more analysis, 3 more pitchers. And then also, if you're going to be joining, join on Thursday, because, as I said, my new weekly fantasy segment called You'll Probably, in parentheses, Thank Me Later, have another guy that I think is very, very undervalued. Actually, I think I have guys for the next 2 or 3 weeks on that. I have one guy that's undervalued, and then the week after, we're going to go through one of the guys that I think is going to be one of the most overvalued players in fantasy drafts, and a guy that I personally am going to try everything I can to avoid and might just cross him off my list, period. So that will do it for us today. We'll run through the chat one more time. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, 910J. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Berg. Kid Keon, Ryan, thank you all so much for joining. This show was brought to you on behalf of the Daily Bread Network on YouTube. Please subscribe if you aren't already. And also please follow me at SpinDoc Sports. Like the video, give us a like, give us a follow. We do appreciate all the love. Best of luck with anything that you're tailing tonight. And if you're watching this and you're in VIP, we could be very, very busy tonight because there's a lot of potential on this card. So best of luck with everything you're tailing. We'll see you tomorrow.